the Michael movie, the biopic that just came out starring Jafar Jackson. It was really good, but it wasn't exactly perfect. And I feel like that's something that we should have expected when you're trying to cover a story this big, when you're trying to cover the Michael Jackson story. There's so much that goes into Michael Jackson, his career, his life, everything. There's so much to go into, so you can't really expect a story about Michael Jackson's life to be necessarily perfect. And I didn't expect that going in. I didn't expect them to be able to cover his whole life within a span of 2 hours. And if you expected it, I feel like that's unrealistic, bro. You should have expected they would have to leave some things out. And we saw that there was legal troubles that they had to leave Diana Ross out because she didn't want to be included in the movie because people were saying that she might have groomed Michael because she met him when he was 14, I think, between 14 and 16, I'm pretty sure, right? And then they ended up dating once he became an adult. So people are saying that she groomed him. I'm not gonna speculate on that right now. I'm just gonna tell you. I'm telling you what the people are saying. I'm not telling you what I'm saying. I'm saying what the people are saying. So she couldn't be included in the movie. And then there was just other legal troubles where certain things weren't included, different controversies that people thought should have been included weren't included. And I feel like for a first Michael movie, I feel like this was a good start. It showed his music, it showed the music, and that's what Michael was known for, his music and his impact on music and the industry and things like that. And I feel like it did a good job of that without getting too much into anything else. We saw a little bit of the drama with him and his father, Joseph Jackson. And we saw some of that. We saw some of the drama with him not wanting to tour, things of that nature. Now, let's get to the good parts of the movie. In my opinion, Jafar Jackson did his thing. Jafar Jackson did his thing in this movie. And he really captured the essence of Michael Jackson the best way I think anybody possibly could. I know there's a lot of impersonators of Michael out there that exist, but Jafar, there were some points in the movie where I was looking and I was like, man, that really looks like Michael. That really feels like Michael. And I'm not gonna act like I was around during the time Michael was at his peak. I was alive when Michael was alive. For 3 years, I was alive with Michael. So, hey, I was alive at the same time as Michael. A lot of people can't say that. But Jafar did an amazing job. I feel like it's such a tall task to ask somebody to not only to portray a family member, to portray an uncle, but to portray your uncle that is Michael Jackson is just an extremely tall task that I feel like he lived up to. There's so much pressure in that. And I feel like he didn't let the pressure get to him, and he just captured the essence and the aura as best as he possibly could, right? As best as anybody possibly could, in my opinion. I don't know who else could have really did a better job at being Michael than Jafar did in this movie. So I feel like that, he deserves an Oscar. I feel like he definitely deserves an Oscar. If he doesn't get one, I'm gonna have to put a grenade in somebody's cereal. I don't have to do that. But Jafar did his thing, right? Now, the performance, and let's get to the performances and stuff with that, how Jafar did that. His movements felt and looked like Michael so much. It was crazy. I was like, whoa, this is actually insane. It feels like I'm watching Michael in 4K quality on an IMAX screen. That's what it felt like. I was watching Michael just in 4K, right? The Beat It scene, just all that, Thriller, all that was just so peak. Jafar really did a great job. And I didn't really have any doubts. When I first saw the trailer, I was like, man, who is this? And I found out it was Michael's nephew, and he ended up doing a great job. So props to Jafar. And now, for the story of the movie, the pacing is the part that I feel like makes the movie a little weird. The pacing was a little weird. It felt like we lingered on some parts for a little too long, or we didn't explore some parts for that long at all. And I feel like that's something that's difficult. You're covering Michael Jackson's story because there's so much to cover. If you have to be able to choose what part you're gonna linger on for longer and what parts you're gonna have to switch from in a quicker fashion. And that's the trouble when it comes to these filmmakers having to decide what to keep in the story, right? And I feel like they did a good job considering the fact that there's so much to cover with Michael, right? I feel like they covered the important pieces of his musical career from 1978 to 1980. What year did they get to? Did they get to, was it 90? Did they get to the 90s? I don't think they got to the 90s. I think they got to 88, I think. 87? When did Bad come out? 1987? I think this when Bad came out. Might be tripping. But they got to all of that, right? And they explored that well. And a scene that was particularly wrenching, gut wrenching. Well, there was two of them. One was obviously the when Michael's hair caught on fire when he was doing that Pepsi commercial that Joe basically forced him to do. Said, if you love your family, you're gonna do the commercial and go on this tour. That was really sad because I knew when I seen he was doing the Pepsi commercial, I knew it was coming. So I was like, man, bro. And that was a really well done job of portraying such a tragic thing that happened. And it was really sad to see. And it was watching Michael go through that in real time. It's crazy. That's just another more props to Jafar on that. And then the second scene that really got to me emotionally was the scene where Joe was in Michael's room and he was getting on Michael about the family. You gotta look out for your family. And Michael was holding the door because he was scared that Joe might put his hands on him or something. And if I'm not mistaken, Joe Jackson did actually physically abuse Michael. If I'm not mistaken, please correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like that is the case. But overall, this biopic did a really good job of covering most of the important parts. It really did a good job of just capturing the essence and the aura of Michael, just showing the crowd reactions and just showing the amount of people that just loved him, of different races, genders, just every backgrounds, everything. Everybody loved Michael. And it was just great to see that on the big screen because obviously I didn't get to live through it in real time. So it was like seeing it in real time in just 2026. So I feel like they did a good job considering that fact. It wasn't a perfect movie, of course, but it was good nonetheless. And I hear there's supposed to be a part 2, so we might get into some other things in that second movie. So I'm excited to see if that actually comes to fruition. Let me know what y'all thought of the Michael movie. That's my rant for today, y'all. Smiley out, bruh.